Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all those in New Jersey, Florida, Chicago, Hawaii, and wherever else you're watching from. Congratulations on today's service. Thank you for joining us. This past month was a month of many news, many changes. And before I go into that, I'd like to just make a few announcements. In March, this month, March 15th, the summer camp registrations are closing. So all of you who would like to participate, would like to send children, family, friends, the registration closes on the 15th. So please let us know and sign up as soon as possible so we can get prepared for that. It's going to be a really great activity. We're really looking forward to it. Everybody's working really hard for it. And I think it's going to be a very great opportunity for the youth to connect to God in a fun and attractive, entertaining way. Okay, so sign up. Also, the chorus, we have individual classes now happening, and we're setting up the churches. So we have live performances at the churches. So we are looking for those of you who are interested, contact your local church representative and sign up as soon as possible. Here in LA, we also have that challenge. So services here, we'll be setting up the church here too to be able to do that. Now, I'm not a great singer. I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm terrible at singing, but I love to make it available for all of us to practice this pillar of salvation. So let's organize for that. That by June maybe we can start doing services with the chorus performing at the church. This past Rishun service, we had a very important announcement. I think some of you may have already heard. Masak Sama was instated as representative of Kyoshu. So Masak Sama, who's successor of Kyoshu Sama, is now representative of Kyoshu Sama. And this is not just a title change. I think that we have to really reflect on its meaning because it deals with the holy seat of Kyoshu, the very center of our church, what our church is built around to serve. So every time there's a change in the holy seat of Kyoshu, our church goes through a great advancement, great growth. So we're being very blessed with that opportunity. And more than ever, we should open our hearts, right, to receive the sacred words coming from Kyoshu Sama, coming from Masak Sama in this new phase. It's a really exciting moment for us to have Masak Sama as representative of Kyoshu. And I think we're going to see much growth in the near future, right, as we are living in this new rhythm. So keep an eye out for that. But at the same time, it also brings me to reflect on how blessed we are to have the Holy Seat of Kyoshu. I don't think that on a day-to-day, we tend to maybe not really recognize what blessing that is. Today's service is one of those days that really brings that out. For example, the hymns that we received today, the sacred word that we received today, the Bible passage. Without the Holy Seat of Kyoshu, we couldn't really understand what's there. We tried, right? For 70 years when the church was very director-centered, we thought we understood what that was. We thought we knew what Meishu Sama was talking about. And today we can see how far off we are from that. And not only that, humanity at large, I think for 2,000 years has been trying to understand what Jesus meant in that passage and hasn't been able to really grasp that. Reading the hymns today, the sacred word of Meishu Sama in the Bible, Meishu Sama says, The time has come when I finally prove to you the truth in the profound mystery of the expression God human. Meishu Sama himself is declaring that a profound mystery. Right? Yet when we hear, it is I who have descended to the world with authority to save the sinful, or when the end of days comes, all people without exception will prostrate themselves before me. Oh, how I look forward to that time. And it is only I who have been entrusted with the mission of God to save the world. Without the correct interpretation of that, understanding of that, it is very easy to think that Meishu Sama is talking about himself and that the world is going to prostrate themselves before him. I had that understanding for a long time too. That's how I used to see it. But as Masek Sama shares in his sacred word, that is actually turning what Meishu Sama said into a cult. Have you guys read Masek Sama's sacred word, A Glorious Future We Near? Maybe you have. Maybe you're reading it for a second time. Maybe you're reading it for a third time. Maybe you're hearing it for the first time. I can't read enough of it, to be very honest. How powerful it is. Masek Sama stated in that sacred word, if you didn't know about the connection between God and human and simply took it as all humanity prostrating themselves before Meishu Sama, the human, then you would normally consider this being cultish. If you replaced the me with Meishu Sama and interpreted this hymn as a religious founder who was looking forward to everyone prostrating themselves before him, then the religion would be a cult. I think some of us, can't speak for all, but many of us in the church did that for a long time. Actually, been accused by people I've known this to be a cult because I didn't understand what Meishu Sama was sharing. Just for you to have an idea how important the sacred word of Kirti Sama is in Masek Sama. We had 8 hymns today, right? One small excerpt from Meishu Sama's sacred word and the Bible. To dig into this mystery that Meishu Sama is talking about, Masek Sama's sacred word is 19 pages long. 19 pages. I mean, I don't do it justice to talk about it here and say, okay, in this service, in 30 minutes, I'm going to be able to talk about this and share with you guys. It's not fair. You really have to read it and go deeper into it. But there are a few points that in it I'd like to share today and focus a little bit on it. Masek Sama mentions, right, in his sacred word about this profound mystery and the fact that for us human beings, it is he says, in truth, for a human being, it is the basic of the basics. For you to be a human being and live on this earth, we have to understand that. It is the basic for us to be able to live here. Yet we think we're living. Yet we think we're fulfilling our purpose. But we don't even understand that truth. And he goes further and says humanity has had the same problem since 2,000 years ago. The very reason why Jesus was persecuted, crucified. When he approached, he said he's God's son. God is in him. He is in God. What did they do? What did we do? We put him on a cross. So without having the holy seed of Kyoshu, without having Kirti Sama's sacred word, we still wouldn't be able to grasp Meishu Sama's sacred word. And we would be living in darkness. true darkness. So I can't help but feel a tremendous joy to receive the sacred word. And every time they come out, it's exciting. It's really, really exciting to go deeper. And it's like we read it, we study it, and then we go on to the next one. But really, it's like you could stay on the first one for quite a bit, right? And still not be able to grasp everything. But what is the impact of this truth that's being revealed by Meishu Sama? I think that's the question that we need to kind of ask ourselves, right? Some people say that Jesus is the greatest revolutionary of all time, right? His existence not only shaped history, but human existence as a whole. Some of them call him even an activist, greatest activist of all time. Imagine what the world would be if the world could really grasp what he was saying. Imagine what kind of life we would be living if 2,000 years ago we had actually understood what he was saying. 2,000 years passed, we thought we understood because he came and he changed many things, social order, religion. What was he really saying? Maybe some might have wished to have a time machine, right? To go back before his, execution. Hey, let's question him. Let's find out more. We have the best time machine in the world. We have a link between Jesus and Meishu Sama in a span of 2,000 years, which is Meishu Sama himself in the sacred word of Meishu Sama. I think that what humanity is about to experience is unfathomable. You can't really grasp what that is at the moment. Meishu Sama received this truth, but he didn't just receive it, he opened it up to the world. It's open for everybody. There's no exception. Everybody can receive that truth. And what Meishu Sama revealed is going to change everything. It has already, but I think we're going to start experiencing that change for every human being forever. And I think that goes back to the next question. What's the purpose of our faith? Of we as a church? What's the purpose of our faith? If what Meishu Sama is revealing is the essence and the next steps to what Jesus revealed, what's the purpose of being here? Or you can put it another way. How blessed are we to be here? Can we really grasp what that means at the moment? During the studies this past month and in other studies too, I often hear this expression. Yeah, we talk about God being alive. It goes something like this. We talk about God being alive. But when I look at the world and I see all the problems in the world, it's so hard to believe that God is alive, right? If God were alive and we start judging God, right? I would change this and I would change that. I would do this and I would do that. But Meishu Sama, in his hymn today that we read, he says, you have to be a human being and God at the same time. You have to be God and a human being at the same time. If not, you cannot save the world. So what does that mean, right? How to save the world, how to be God and human at the same time. Well, it goes back to Masak Sama's sacred word, a glorious future we near. Masak Sama says, in reality, our true self is God. So we are not on the side that receives, but on the side that descends, the side that makes the other receive. I will receive, worship, and serve. We think that this is the stance we are supposed to take, that this is what faith is. With only that, you will never be born. If your focus is on the human perspective, the side that receives, the side that worships, you will never reach the point of being born anew. So, right off the bat, and of course, this is part of the message, so please go back to the whole thing. But right off the bat, we as followers of Meishu Sama, our faith is not to receive only. If you only do that, you will never be born. Don't we go to the service with that kind of thought, that kind of feeling? I want to express my gratitude to God. I want to pray for this blessing. I want to pray for protection. I want to pray for a better job. I want to pray for help with my family. I'm having an issue with my son. I need help. I need guidance. The whole time we're receiving. And we think this is faith. I'm living my faith. I'm doing what God expects of me. Then Masaik Sama continues, says, I mean, in words of light, Meishu Sama says, God is light, and where there is light, peace, happiness, and joy abound. In darkness, conflict, poverty, and disease pervade. For those who seek light and prosperity, come to the light and call on the name of Messiah. You then will be saved. Here he is saying, come. Come. While our basic human stance has always been to say something like, I will return, I will go back to heaven, I will serve, but actually, we should be the ones who say, come. Our true self is in the position to say, come to me. And well, when it comes to this, it turns into a difficult issue for us. We think this is complicated, but in truth, it's very simple. And that's because our true self is the soul of God that exists within us. Have you ever thought about that? You're in the middle of a problem, you're in the middle of an issue, and you turn and you say, okay, come to me. I'm here to save this. Don't we do the opposite? I don't want that problem. I don't want that issue. I don't want that pain. I don't want that discomfort. But he says, so this is actually common sense. But because we want to draw a line between our existence and God's existence, we do not and cannot understand. We scratch our heads, wondering what it means, and in the end, we think it has nothing to do with us. But this is an important point that he shares later on in the message. He says, this, of course, is not something to get overconfident about. There's absolutely no dragging God down to the position of humans. There's no making all our wishes come true or fulfilling our own selfish hopes. There's no do what I say because I am God. We must be careful of not falling into this kind of thinking. So at the same time that maybe someone's sharing with us, right? God, human, we're not here to brag about it. We're not here to use this for our own personal gains. That's not how it works. But we're here to serve. And he says, but like so, we have had this problem between humans and God since 2,000 years ago. You just heard it now, right? It was considered a problem that Jesus made himself out to be God, even though he was a human being. And ultimately, we came 2,000 years without having solved the problem. And that's when Meishu Sama appeared. Masaik Sama later says, I know that the content of this hymn certainly seems difficult as we are not used to this way of thinking. I mean, we're used to thinking like humans, right? But if we are not like the way it is described in the hymn, We cannot save the world. Then that's a problem for us, isn't it? We're not here to just receive salvation, but we are here to save the world, right? Furthermore, he shares. And I think this is a very important point for all of us who are here to follow Meishu Sama. It is pointless to simply pray and wish for something good. In that case, you don't have to be a follower of Meishu Sama. You can just go to a nearby temple or shrine, make a monetary offering, and that's enough. It is pointless. Pointless. So, do I want to be a follower of Meishu Sama? What kind of follower of Meishu Sama I want to be? I want to be a real follower of Meishu Sama, or be regarded by Meishu Sama as pointless because we're just doing half of the work. I think it's a very important question for us, right? We tend to rely on our convenience, on our hopes, our wishes, our desires. So when we say, okay, God is alive, as a follower of Meishu Sama, we say, okay, I'm going to accept that. I don't feel it, I don't understand it, but I'm going to serve in that way. Is a normal reaction, right? But we do the opposite. We rely on our convenience and we say, well, I don't see it, I don't understand it, it's complicated. And the whole time, I think we try to redefine what it is to be a follower of Meishu Sama. But as Masak Sama is sharing here, if we're just on the receiving end, it will be pointless. So how does this apply in our daily lives? In our day-to-day? How do I apply this? How do I live this? I want to be a follower of Meishu Sama. How do I live that? He says, so instead of thinking, oh no, please help me, be bold. Recall the hymn, it is I who have descended to the world with authority to save the sinful. Apply it to yourself and then say, I came here to save the sinful. I came here entrusted with the authority of God. And this time, since you will go back to the place most high, you can also say, I bring this to God. He further says, he says, children learn a language by imitating their parents, right? If you're Japanese speaking, you learn to speak Japanese. If your parents swear a lot, you learn to swear a lot too. Now we say we cannot hear God's voice. We say we don't know whether he is talking to us or not. Be that as it may, Meishu Sama is telling us that we carry a divine being within ourselves. If so, you must assume this to be true. Act as if you are a divine being and utter. For example, words like, I'm here to save people. Do not say, please forgive me, but instead, I forgive. At this moment, each one of us is facing some kind of problem or issue, or we think that our hands are full. But if in actuality, we are here to save those feelings within us, we must utter words like, I forgive you. I grant God's blessing upon you to those feelings that are within us. I think that takes a lot of courage, wouldn't you agree? A lot of faith at the same time. You can't hear, you can't feel God doing that. But Meishu Sama is teaching us that's the way to live. Jesus was showing us that 2,000 years ago. Imagine in the world today, all the conflict that we have, right? There's so many wars going on. And we turn to each other and say, well, I can't forgive this person. I can't forgive that person. Their ancestors did this, and this for generations. Now I'm going to do this. And this. But you're not the one that's forgiving. Everybody gets caught up on the human part, right? And says, well, I can't forgive. I can't let go of that. God is the one forgiving through you. We say, when that problem resolves, that would be the day I believe in God, right? But God is teaching us to believe in him so he can show us the resolution to that problem. It's the other way around. The whole time we put ourselves in the point of show me, prove to me. And we don't live in that truth. Nema Saksama continues, he says, well, doesn't God use those kinds of words? He does not say things like, please welcome me into heaven. Please forgive me, right? We use the term, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. I think we can change that expression a little bit. Be the change God wants to see in the world. Would be a little bit nicer. Because everybody has their own idea of what the change in the world should be. How about the change that God wants to see in the world? The change that God started 2,000 years ago with Meishu Sama. With Jesus. The change that God is reminding us through Meishu Sama. The change that God is bringing through World Church of Messiah. Don't you want to be a part of that change? Is my question. I think that as humanity awakens to this truth, as each individual awakens to this truth, there's not one person that's not going to want to be a part of it. Today you may think, oh, the church is small, right? Not many people are coming. Because we don't see what the gift that we're being given. We as members haven't really grasped what a blessing it is to be a part of this revolution that Meishu Sama is bringing. This change and this transformation, because if we grasp and we see how blessed we are to even be a part of it, there's no way we cannot invite our friends. There's no way we cannot invite our family. Because you want the best for them too. That change is a world where no longer are we the center and it's what we want, it's what God wants. You want to feel God's joy, God's bliss, God's heaven. That sounds beautiful to everybody, right? How about we do the work for that? How about we live in that? How about we invest into that? Meishu Sama gave his life and soul, literally everything he had, to bring this will of God forth, to show the world. Everything. His own family, right? Meishu Sama's family inherits his will, right? It was not of any individual choice. Meishu Sama surrendered all that back to God. How about us? Kyosho Sama gave everything and is giving everything he has for us to wake up to that. Why? Because this is the only path to true happiness. And I think that we are truly, truly, truly blessed to be shown this path. The question is, do you want to be the change that God wants for you? It's a choice. Nobody's going to force anybody to do it. God is alive within everybody. He's been waiting and patiently waiting. Do you see me yet? Do you believe me yet? Do you want to be my child yet? Right? The world is waiting for the second coming of Christ. For somebody to come and fix the problem, right? Basically. Oh, one day Jesus will come again. He's going to fix everything. He came the first time, and they're expecting, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And he's like, no, I'm here for something different. I'm here to show you a whole new world. Then maybe someone came and said, hey, the second coming of Christ already happened. It's within each one of us, as Masek is sharing in this very sacred word. Are we going to sit around and wait our whole life and say, one day Christ will manifest himself? Or are we going to proactively surrender ourselves back to God and live in accordance to that change? I think is the question that lies for each one of us. So this year promises to be, it's already been a really amazing beginning. There's so many things happening, but even one person said during the week, it was interesting, right? We have so many activities going on that the leaders couldn't keep up in one of the churches. They said, well, they just can't keep up with so much going on. This is because we thought, oh, the church is so quiet now, right? Everything's soning. We don't have to do anything. There's nothing to do. There's really so much going on. Right? And we are so blessed to be a part of that. So pick up the phone and show up. Show up because that change is happening. Be a part of it. Enjoy it. We're really, really, truly blessed to be here. So with that in mind, grateful hearts, let us continue with one heart with Kirch Sama, receiving this will of Mish Sama. And let's be a part of that change. Thank you.